welcome to the very first official DBD Sports Show podcast. Give it a round of applause. So real quick before we start, I'd like to thank our very close friends at Lumberlends Bat Mugs. Great products, great price. Make sure you check them out on Instagram at Lumberlends Bat Mugs and TikTok at Lumberlends Bat Mugs. So my name's Dom.
I'm Brady.
And that's Daryl, who's joining us from home. He will be in the studio once everything gets better. But all right, we'll start off. So we'll start off with who is more likely to win SBLV Super Bowl 2021-2022 season, the Bucks or the Chiefs? Brady, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Right.
Honestly, this could go either way, but I do think the Bucks hold this advantage just solely based on that defense. I think they still have a young core in Levante David, Sean Murphy Bunting Jr., and Antoine Winfield.
Okay.
So if they can get back, what's his name?
Shaq Barrett.
Yep. Levante David, I really think they can go far again. And yeah, Shaq Barrett. And I think Tom Brady is going to do what Tom Brady does.
I'm not worried about Tom.
That
Tommy
really makes me
Foxborough,
think
now
that
it's
the
Tommy
Bucks might
Tampa.
repeat.
So I do agree with Brady that the Bucks have a better chance of repeating than the Chiefs getting their revenge against whichever NFC team next year. Piggybacking off of what Brady was saying with the free agents, for free agents next year they have Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Ndamukong Suh, Leonard Fournette, and AB and Chris Godwin. So big names coming out of the Bucks organization. Not worried about Tommy Foxborough though.
Yeah.
Well, post Tommy Foxborough, same thing. This is Gronk's first time on free agency. So he's going to stay with his one quarterback, Tom Brady, that he wants to stay with for this whole career.
Absolutely.
Or he's going to venture out free agency his very first time. Last time he was in free agency, he said, no, can't trade me. I'm retired. I'm not going to the Bummy Lions. I'm not going to the Foxborough graveyard in Detroit. The Chiefs free agents, though, next year, they only have Sammy Watkins, Brashad Breeland, Le'Veon Bell, and Byron Pringle as notable names. Like, don't get me wrong, the Bucks and Chiefs, they both have more free agents than what I had listed, but those are the most recognizable household names. And Tampa Bay is 13th overall in available cap with $27 million to spend, and Kansas City is 29th in cap with negative 21.
I'd like to add something about Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people sleep on what he did for the Buccaneers this year. Of course, he's not the same receiver as he
Didn't
once
put up
was.
big numbers.
But I think the biggest difference in the Bucs offense down the stretch was the run game. And Rob Gronkowski took every team's best defensive lineman one-on-one every playoff game and just completely dominated.
Their play action game got way better
Exactly.
throughout the season. We saw it during Green Bay. We saw it against the Saints. We saw it in the Super Bowl. It's the same thing with their offensive line. Is their offensive line going to hold up? You know what I mean? Because, Daryl, what do you think about their offensive line?
Oh, well, the Chiefs should probably try to get some new offensive linemen, because you don't want it to be a situation when Eric Fisher gets hurt again and then they're in the same position that they were before. They want to get some more people who can protect Mahomes just as good as he can, or almost as good as he can. And if they do that, I think they're in a good position to succeed.
So the same thing with their offensive line. When their offensive line is healthy, and it's a great benefit that Pat Mahomes can escape the pocket and extend plays just like Deshaun Watson, which we'll talk about later, and Russell Wilson, and kind of sort of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Extending the plays can either help the offensive line or kill the offensive line. Joey Burrow down there in Cincinnati, he's getting demolished by their offensive line. As soon as he runs 3 steps out of the pocket, he's getting denied. He's getting destroyed. His legs are almost going to fall off in Cincinnati. So we don't know what's going to happen there, but I think that the Bucks have a greater chance to repeat, go back-to-back, first time since 03-04 Patriots with Tommy Foxborough on the team than the Chiefs do as getting their revenge.
All right, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Super Bowl 50... What was this year, 55?
55.
Do you think Super Bowl 55, the Buccaneers' defensive game plan is the base of how to stop the Chiefs? Do you think, like, next season that teams will use that same strategy?
So I think we saw it against the Raiders and Tampa Bay. They only rushed with 4. The key to beating the Chiefs is rushing with 4, dropping back, 2 deep safety against Tyreek, always having 2 guys on Tyreek, a shallow guy in the middle for Travis Kelce, and over top against Travis Kelce, playing zone. They're going to demolish you with man.
That's why I don't think that offense
kills.
might be not as effective as it was this year, next year.
Exactly, because they got Travis Kelce,
yeah.
they got Tyreek Hill, and don't get me wrong, Byron Pringle steps up, and Cole steps up. They make big plays, but they're not consistently great like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Pat Mahomes is probably one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the NFL, but he can only do so much with the offensive line collapsing, not even a second into the snap, because that defensive pass rush of the Buccaneers is scary.
Yeah.
And so is Shaq Barrett going to pull a Mike Evans and pull Tom Brady and take a pay cut to keep the team together? Because Mike Evans already admitted, hey, I want this team around me. I'm willing to take a pay cut. I want everybody to stay with me. I want rings. Size me up for a hat, T-shirt, rings. Give it all to me. But Shaq Barrett wants to get paid. He wants to be one of the most paid linebackers in the NFL. So, yes, they do have
the cap space.
They have the cap, but they're not going to have the cap for him, AB, Leonard Fournette, and Shaq Barrett, and Levante David, and Ndamukong Suh. So either they're going to pull Rams and Sean McVay and be like, hey, not worried about the cap, not worried about the future, worried about the present right now. We want rings. We want them now while Tom Brady's healthy. Are they going to sign everybody to a one-year deal? Excuse me. And everybody's going to retire down in Florida after this year, where Tom Brady, Gronk might retire, AB might retire. Is Ndamukong Suh going to retire this year now that he finally has his ring after being in the league this whole time? What's going to happen? You know what I mean? So then that brings us to free agency this year. We got some crazy trades. First off, Wentz to the Colts. Who do you think won that trade, Brady?
Oh, I think the Colts won this trade, and I think this was Wentz's best possible landing spot for him.
Okay.
So you look at how many times Wentz was sacked last year. He was sacked 50 times.
Big.
So that's going to make it so hard for your team to be successful, which is why they weren't that good.
Colts only allowed 19 sacks all season this year across all QBs that started.
And mentally, I feel like when Nick Foles won that Super Bowl and took Carson Wentz's job, it messes you up mentally. And on top of that, he won Super Bowl MVP, and then they drafted another quarterback in the second round.
Right. There's no reason to draft Jalen Hurts in that second round with that second round pick.
Wentz is the man.
If you think Carson Wentz is your guy, is the guy in Philly, you don't go and draft a quarterback in the second round. Okay, maybe fourth round, fifth round, sixth round. Just some guys that might help out in the backup, get a few snaps, but not someone that could be a starter who's a good quarterback coming out of college. So the Colts get Carson Wentz, and the Eagles will get the 2021 third-round pick from the Colts, and a 2022 conditional second-round pick. And with that conditional pick, if Wentz plays 75% of the snaps, or if he plays 70% and the Colts make the playoffs, it turns to a first-round pick in 2022 for the Eagles, which can be good and can be bad. And the reason why this trade took so long is because they wanted a Matt Stafford-like deal. They wanted multiple first-rounders. They wanted another quarterback in return. And all the teams said, nope, not doing that. Carson Wentz is a bum. We know he's bad. Could have won Defensive Player of the Year last year with how many turnovers did he have last year? 15 picks in 2020. That is a ton. And same thing, if you go, see, this is why I think the Colts won the trade. He's reunited with Frank Reich, his old head coach from 2017. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in 2017, Carson Wentz had his MVP-like season. He put up crazy numbers. He had 61.5% completion percentage, 49 touchdown, 2% pick percentage, 88.8 QB rating, and 6.78 yards per attempt in the air. Those are big numbers, and he sat out the last 3 to 4 games of the 2017 season. And DeForest Buckner and Carson Wentz, you know what they both love? Hunting. They both love hunting. They're going to get some team bonding. Carson Wentz has already been texting with Jacoby Brissett, some backup saying, hey, love to get to know you. Great work. Let's work together. Have any questions, shoot me a text, blah, 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 blah. They're already schmoozing it up in Indy. So this could be a good thing. This could lead the Colts to a good playoff run. If Carson Wentz can play like Carson Wentz did, this could be good for the Colts. Darryl, what do you think?
Oh, I really think the Eagles won this trade. The reason being is because Carson Wentz was just not a good locker room presence. The chemistry with his teammates was clearly off. The chemistry with his coach was clearly off. And he just wasn't playing well. Okay. And now with him gone, you can start to set your organization in a new direction. And you have a young talent there in Jalen Hurts who's ready to show what he can do. Now he has the green light, and now he's QB1, and he can really flourish now that he has that starting role.
And so, You can go, Brady.
I would just want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I also think the Colts is a really good spot for Carson Wentz because he was sacked 50 times. Now he's going to a 7th-ranked offensive line who only gave up 19 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, the Colts have a top 10 defense, which Carson
Great
Wentz.
young team, just like the Bucs.
Now that Carson Wentz is on the Colts, he won't have to rely on trying to make every play.
Mm-hmm.
He can rely on the team around him
Mm-hmm.
to make some plays for him, and I think down the road that will help them win the AFC South and maybe make a deep run in the playoffs.
And we saw Carson Wentz kind of, sort of escape the pocket. He can. He's one of like a.
He's
Obviously, he's not as
vulnerable.
the
He
caliber
gets
of
hurt a
Aaron
lot.
Rodgers. He can escape the pocket and extend plays, but he's not going to be as consistent with it. And we saw him get sacked too many times to count for a quarterback. And he has great help in Indy. He has Michael Pittman Jr., who they drafted in, I believe, the 2nd round last year of 2020. T.Y. Hilton, who is a free agent, but everybody's speculating that he's coming back because his face is on the side of the stadium. There's rumors about him coming back. John Taylor, Naeem Hines at running back, and a great O-line, and like Brady said, a great young defense. This can be nothing but great for Carson Wentz. This is the best spot that Carson Wentz can go to with his old coach, great young team.
He has nothing to lose but everything to gain.
Everything, also a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Kind of. If Carson Wentz can't get it done in Indianapolis, he's done. Carson Wentz is a bum. He's going to be, not that Joe Flacco's a bum. He took out Manning, Rodgers, and someone else in his playoff run. But yeah, if Carson Wentz can't get it done in Indy, he's done. That brings us to our other free agency blockbuster trade, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Brady, what do you think?
Well, I think the Rams definitely won this trade due to the fact that they got the better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They're a championship-ready team with a high-powered defense. They have Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey on the outside.
Yep.
And with the weapons on offense, I also think they could be an offensive juggernaut, just like they were in 2018 when they made the Super Bowl.
The only thing that worries me about the offensive juggernaut is Cooper Kupp. Yes, he's great at slot. He's a great inside dirty receiver like Edelman, Cole Beasley. Robert Woods is great like that too. But they don't have as much deep threats for Matt Stafford to air it out.
Yep.
So maybe they go for a Kadarius Toney with their first pick in the draft this year because they have the pick. They don't have the first pick because they have 0 first-round picks till like 2026. So Detroit in this deal gets Jared Goff, 2021 third-round pick, 2022 and 2023 first-round pick, leaving the Rams with nothing, absolutely nothing, and the Rams just get Matt Stafford in return. Darryl, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for Matthew Stafford. I mean, now he gets the opportunity to show what he really can do. Now he has a better line, better protection, fantastic defense. You're talking about the best corner in the league, arguably the best defensive player in the whole league in Aaron Donald. So that defense is going to create turnovers for him. And now he's going to have a defense that can make stops for him, and he has playmakers around him. And this is an opportunity for him. They could actually go far with this talent.
See, the only thing that worries about me about this deal is the money. Besides Matt Stafford's health, because he's getting hurt pretty much every season, but it's because Detroit. He's getting demolished back there in Detroit. But with the money, the Rams will inherit 2 years, $43 million from Matt Stafford, and the Lions will have $17.8 million in dead cap, not able to use in free agency or with other contracts. Detroit will inherit 4 years, $106.6 million from Jared Goff, and they will have $22.2 million in dead cap. So with the dead cap, they're not helping Jared Goff with O-line in Detroit, and the Rams, there's speculations that they might try and go after a Kenny Galladay because he's a free agent. He already has the chemistry with Matt Stafford from Detroit. So is he going to end up with Matty Stafford in L.A. in the warm weather? I don't know what's going to happen.
I just think the Rams have given up a lot to win now, and I really think they're in a great position to win that division, the NFC West, and make a good run in the playoffs.
But they're not set up for their future's looking rough.
But
like
they're
5
not worried
years
about
down
the
the
future.
line.
They want to win right now, and they have the team to do it.
All right. So talking about some free agents to QBs, let's talk about maybe the most notable free agents to QBs. We're not really going to talk about Russell Wilson because he's staying in Seattle. And if he doesn't, we'll be the first to say that we were wrong. But I don't think there's any way that Russell Wilson is leaving Seattle. Yes, their team is unhappy. Russell Wilson is unhappy, even though he hasn't really put out a statement saying that he personally is unhappy. It's more his team and the Seahawks, actual organization, saying that they're not happy that they called them out, basically. He's not getting any help with the O-line. Look for them to draft some O-linemen this year. They don't really need any help on offense. Maybe a few defensive linemen, some additions. But Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott need to get out of Texas. Brady, what do you think?
I think Deshaun Watson's best landing spot, in my opinion, would be the Dolphins.
Okay.
They have a defense that is capable of winning a championship right now. They have a great coach in Brian Flores. And with the addition of Watson, that team already had 10 wins. Imagine their ceiling with Watson.
Right.
I just think that he brings so much to the table, and I think it's really great opportunity to make a deep playoff run for the Dolphins.
The thing is, with their 10 wins, they're doing that with Tua Tagovailoa, who's starting pretty much every other game and getting taken out probably almost every quarter at this point. Ryan Fitzmagic, who's a good mentor backup, but he's not a starter for your team if you want to go after a Super Bowl. You're not going for a chip with Ryan Fitzmagic at the helm.
I also think that offense never really had a chance to click because they were constantly interchanging parts.
Chemistry.
They kept taking Tua out, putting Fitzpatrick in, taking him out, putting him in.
Yeah.
But with that reliability of Watson, he's always going to be in there. They're not taking him off the field.
Right.
Once that offense clicks, I think the sky's the limit for the Dolphins.
No matter what happens with Dak and Deshaun, the best option for them is getting out of Texas no matter what. There's some rumors that Dak might go to Houston with his religious ties and Jack Easterby in Houston, and Deshaun might go to Dallas. But the thing is, for Dak, they're paying everybody around Dak except for Dak. They're not giving him any money. They franchised him last year for $31.1 million, and this year, if he accepts it for $37.7, that's just 1 year. And if he signs at $37.7, it locks in, we'll say, maybe $42 million for next year if they sign him again. But I think you can only get tagged 5 times, is it?
Yeah.
Or at least there used to be a requirement on it. But I think Deshaun's going to end up at the Carolina Panthers, because there's already been some rumors swirling around that Carolina's already clearing up cap space and space pretty much in the facility, going to give him a new car, his mom a new car, his brother, sister, relatives new car, jobs, new house, whatever it takes to get Deshaun in Carolina, they are doing it. As soon as they saw Deshaun Watson and Christian McCaffrey on the same team, on the same depth chart, same roster, on the same paper, they knew they had to make it happen. That is a great dynamic duo. The only problem with that is running back, most replaceable position in football. They have a blockbuster running back, amazing, but a lot of money going to Christian McCaffrey, and a lot of money will be going to Deshaun Watson. So I don't know what's going to be happening there down the line towards end of Christian's deal and end of Watson's deal. We don't know how they're going to pay Robbie Anderson. We need targets for Deshaun. We need help. We need an O-lineman, because he can escape the pocket like no other. Like, him and Pat Mahomes are the same quarterback, just Pat Mahomes has help. Deshaun Watson had no help at Texans. Darryl, what do you think?
I completely agree with that. I think Deshaun Watson can even be a best QB in the entire NFL if he's in the right situation. And a situation I think would be ideal for him would be a Washington football team. You're talking about a good defense, that's a young defense that's doing well with Chase Young. And on offense, he has a underrated receiver in Terry McLaurin he could build a good connection with. And then in the backfield, he has Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. Both of them have shown promise. So that would be a nice little roster for him to be in. And plus, it'll be pretty easy for him to get out of the NFC East every year. So I think Deshaun, regardless, any team with a good defense, if you have Deshaun Watson, you always have an opportunity to go far.
See, the thing is, yes, I agree with that, but I don't know. I don't know if they have it. Yes, their defensive line is good. Their defense is great. But are they going to be able to connect? Are they going to be able to get to the NFC least? Who is the best quarterback right now in the NFC least? Taylor Heineke, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, maybe Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott stays, definitely him. If not, he's gone. Who's going to be the starter? Andy Dalton? They went 4-7 without Dak Prescott starting this year. That was Ben DiNucci. That was whatever bum that was there. That was Andy Dalton. What's going to happen? And they didn't even put him in the hype video. So I know Jerry Jones is sitting up there with his Twitter fingers, sitting up there, be like, oh, make sure we do not put Dak in. He knew he wasn't going to be in it. He didn't say anything. I don't know. It's not working there for either of them. They both need to get out.
In my opinion, Jerry Jones is the root of all the Cowboys' problems.
You think so?
He needs to uninvolve himself with the Dallas Cowboys.
Do you think
they need to find them a real GM where they can actually build a team?
So Jerry Jones wants to sign Dak to a 5-year deal. Dak wants 4. They've been having this argument for the past 2 years, and they can't get to an agreement. Do you think it's so they want to pay Dak less down the line, or what do you think it is? So they want it to plan so they know that the quarterback market's going to go up? Daryl, what do you think?
I'll even go a different direction with that. I think Dak Prescott should force his way out. I mean, their organization hasn't shown him the appreciation they should have in the past 2 years, like with the complications with his contract, and even recently not putting him in the hype video. And even his brother has shown him some displeasure on Twitter about the situation. I think Dak Prescott deserves better. I mean, he's definitely a top 7 talent at the position. We're talking about a guy who, before his injury, weeks 2 through 4, he threw for over 400 yards. So he was on a almost MVP tear before he got injured. So I definitely believe that he should go to a better situation, or whatever team he goes to will be better.
So do you think that him and Deshaun might hold out the season? Yes, they're going to get fined, but do they care about the money at this point? They want to be in the best spot for them to win and to maybe get a ring. Yes, it's very hard competition in the NFC and AFC, but it's toxic down in Texas, down in Houston, down in Dallas. Poor Houston. They lost Russell Westbrook, James Harden, J.J. Watt, and maybe Deshaun Watson. And if we're just going to Texas, and maybe Dak Prescott. So that brings us to the next point. J.J. Watt. Where's J.J. Watt going, Daryl?
I think J.J. Watt should go to the Browns, and here's why. The Browns culture has completely changed from what they used to be. Kevin Stefanski is an amazing coach, and that's a team that wants to win now. Mm-hmm. And let's talk about the defensive side. J.J. Watt saw a lot of double teams last year. But if he goes to the Browns, he can't see those double teams because guess what? You got Myles Garrett there. So if they're double teaming Myles Garrett, that's going to free up things for J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt also brings a leadership presence to that team.
Do you think they'll chase after Ndamukong Suh? Do you think they'll try and get Ndamukong Suh for that 1 year before he retires? So it's no.
He's staying with the Bucs.
You think he's going to stay? Because then it's Myles Garrett, Ndamukong Suh, and J.J. Watt. That's 3 of the front 4. That's That's scary, almost Bucs level. Hours. Their Bucs front 4 is unmatched right now. Brady?
I think J.J. Watt will join the Browns as well. I think the Browns play his type of game, and I think...
What do you mean by that?
Stefanski has really changed the culture down there. Mm-hmm. They're really like a hard-nosed football team. They like to run the ball and run it down your throat and just run you over it. And I feel like J.J. Watt is that type of guy. He likes to play tough. He never shies away from contact, and I really think he'll fit in there, especially with Garrett.
Yeah.
They're going to have to double-team one of them, and... one of them's gonna be a wrecking ball one game, and then maybe they'll double team Watt, and then
the only thing is, their DBs need some help.
Yeah.
And Cleveland needs some help. Yes. Okay. Their defensive front is great in Cleveland. Yes, it can need some work, but their DBs need more help. Denzel Ward isn't gonna cut it. He's basically holding down the fort in the back. He's not gonna. Cleveland needs more help on defense than they do on offense. Offense is clicking on all cylinders. We saw it. Baker Mayfield was connecting with everybody. Their defense needs help. I think J.J. Watt is either going to end up in Green Bay. Yes, I think he might go to Pittsburgh to end his career with Derek and J.J. Watt. But he said he wants to go to more of a contender. I believe that Green Bay is more of a contender than the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the AFC, than the Packers are in the NFC. Because, hear me out. J.J. Watt, born in Wisconsin. J.J. Watt has a house in Wisconsin. J.J. Watt went to Wisconsin for college. J.J. Watt had a cabin house in Wisconsin where he filmed his Thank You Houston videos. I think it's all signs leading to go to Green Bay. Green Bay, their offense, yes, Aaron Rodgers could have some more targets, but their defense is what needs the most help. We saw them get exposed by Tom Brady and the Bucs in the NFC Championship game. There's no other way that a team can take down the Buccaneers than J.J. Watt going to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I don't think J.J. Watt would have that big of an impact on the Packers' defense. Like, I don't know. I just don't see that happening.
I think they need to get J.J. Watt. In their first pick is projected to be an offensive lineman. They need to go for defense. They need another defensive lineman to help complement J.J. Watt on that D-line.
Yeah, but I really do think the Browns is where his best option is, because if
the pieces are there.
If Garrett gets double teamed, J.J. Watt's gonna have a field day. If J.J. Watt gets double teamed, Garrett's gonna have a field day. That defensive line is gonna be unstoppable.
And no matter what, the only way they can double team both is if they run a 2 tight end look like the Ravens always do. but that eliminates, what, 2 more targets, another target.
Yep.
And we saw Lamar Jackson. He can barely throw the ball more than 20 yards, just like Drew Brees. So we don't know what's going to happen. So it's either you double team J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, and you eliminate targets, and you just have to try and hope, or you just hope you get some good one-on-ones. But that brings us to type of a rebuild for some teams, mostly the Patriots. What do the Patriots have to do? Daryl, what do you think?
Patriots first. I think you got to trade away some people. Stephon Gilmore is the best asset right now, and I'm sure they appreciate all he's done, but I think it's time to move on. You could get some good assets back for him. And then if you're trading him away, you got to make sure you lock up J.C. Jackson. He was second in the NFL last year in interceptions, so he definitely brings a good defensive presence. So if they do that, they also have to hope that all their opt-outs opt back in, like guys like Chung and Hightower. And then after that, you got to address the quarterback position. I think you draft Mac Jones, so you can have him on a rookie deal. And after that, try to bring in some free agents.
So do we think that the opt-outs are going to retire? Devin, Jason, Dante, Patrick Chung. Patrick Chung, I believe, said he's coming back. And the Twins said they might be coming back.
I don't necessarily think they're going to retire, but they are on the end of their career.
The chopping block?
Yeah, so I think we do need to surround the team with new young talent.
See, I think Killer Cam might deserve another shot in New England. I'm not saying that's a starter position. Even a backup, he had pretty much no offseason. He had, 100 and something nights that it was that he was a free agent. Patriots picked him up for pretty much $800,000 to $1 million. No incentives on his contract, I believe. They paid him nothing, and he played like a bum. He played, let's see his stats from last year. Cam Newton went 65.8 completion percentage, 2,657 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 10 picks. That's horrendous. That's Carson Wentz horrendous.
In the NFL, you can't get away with throwing less than 100 yards in a game. It's just unacceptable. And I think it really shows what Tom Brady did for the Patriots, because even if they didn't have all the pieces on defense, even if they didn't have all the pieces on offense, Tom Brady made it happen. And I just think he really covered up the holes. And it's now, as we saw this year, it shows the flaws.
It's getting exposed.
It showed the flaws that the Patriots actually have, and we got the real side of it.
So, do you think that we're gonna draft a QB, or do you think we're gonna go in one in free agency?
I honestly don't see the Patriots making a bid at either Wilson or Watson. So I think we would.
What about Dak?
I think we would need to trade up for a guy like Justin Fields or Mac Jones from Alabama. But if we do draft a guy, I think we do need to surround them with more talent on the outside, wide receivers, and get a tight end as well.
So there's many free agents this year. I heard that Mitch Trubisky might be on the move. Deshaun might be going to Chicago. Chicago's trying to make up for their mistakes in the draft when they didn't pick up Pat Mahomes. But we got Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz, Allen Robinson, OBJ might be on the move, depending on the Browns' chemistry in the offensive side of the ball. What about Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp's an Edelman, Cole Beasley type receiver, but do we want another Edelman? Is Edelman on the move? If Edelman's on the move, do we bring in Cooper Kupp and embrace him? He can be more of a mid to shallow receiver like Edelman is, just a tough, dirty work like Juju is over the middle. Cooper Kupp's that guy, but he's not really an over-the-top type of guy. Here's the thing. Me, personally, I love Gilmore. Like Darryl said, thanks you for everything that you've done. Defensive Player of the Year 2 seasons ago. I'd get him away. I'd call up the Eagles organization, be like, hey, you messed up. You fired Doug Peterson. Here's the thing about firing Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson wanted to keep Jalen Hurts. That's why they fired him. But they stuck with Jalen Hurts. They got rid of Carson Wentz too. So Doug Peterson is a good coach. Won him a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, who it turns out, he's not all that because he can't even find a starting job. He's hopping from team to team at this point. He's not even really the starter in Chicago at this point. Have a statue of Doug Peterson and Nick Foles out of the stadium. Carson Wentz had to see that every day going to the stadium. Had to leave. Got him out of there. Got Doug Peterson out of there. Now they may be even stuck with Jalen Hurts. Maybe not. So I'd call up the Eagles, be like, listen, we'll give you Stephon Gilmore, N'Keal Harry, our 2021 second-round pick this year. Give us your first-round pick, your 6th overall pick this year, and give us Travis Fulgham, the wide receiver. And you know what I'll do with that 6th overall pick? Give me Kyle Pitts, that tight end out of Florida. He is different. He is amazing. Receiver, deep threat, big body. He's everything we want N'Keal to be. Great blocker. He's amazing all around. That is the one person. If we had to get one person out of that draft, I want Kyle Pitts. Because if we trade away that second round and get the 6th, we still have that later pick, the 15th overall pick, that we can still get Mac Jones. Or if we want, hope Kyle Trask falls to us and get him for that Kyle Pitts connection from Florida.
I think oftentimes, not only Patriots fans, but I think people are what's the word, like?
Overhyping, over necessity.
We think we're going to get more for Gilmore than we are. I honestly don't think he's as big of an asset as we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
He just got injured this last season. So
you think he's on the decline?
So what team, how many picks or how many?
You think he's on the decline?
He
played great in man coverage this year.
He's on the decline, but like
he held D-Hop to what, 1 catch?
How many more years does he have?
I don't know. But those years are.
I know, but I don't think he's as big of an asset as we think he is.
Say Stephon Gilmore's on the decline. His declining numbers are still cornerbacks,
bigger,
good numbers.
But
he's
we're not going to get 2 first-round picks like they got for Jalen Ramsey. He's just not.
Oh, no.
He's not 26.
He's not Jalen Ramsey.
That's what I'm trying to say. That 4 years makes a difference. 30
then
years
I'd
old,
give him,
that team doesn't want to take that risk. You know what I'm saying?
What would you give him for their 6th?
What do you mean?
What would you give Eagles for their 6th
overall?
overall?
I mean, Stephon Gilmore is definitely our biggest asset, so we would have to.
That's why I feel like this is the best, because we don't lose out on much. We still end up with 2
still have
first-round
J.C.
picks.
Jackson, so
J.C. Jackson's on the come up. We still have 2 first-round picks because of this trade.
Yep.
I think this trade is the best thing that we could do, because we're not going to go off the Dak. We don't pay anybody big money. Tom Brady took pay cuts year after year to keep the team together. Shout out Mike Evans. Shout out hopefully Shaquille Barrett, maybe Chris Godwin, maybe Tommy Tampa down there. If he's going to do it again, I doubt it. I don't know if he's going to retire if he wins. You think so? If he wins again or they make another run?
I think if he wins back-to-back, I don't know. You never know with Tom. He always wants the next one.
I agree. Because he said he feels good he can play till 50. But if he goes back-to-back and wins, and the last person that does that was the 03-04 Patriots, there's no better way to go out than knocking off Pat Mahomes and knocking off the next big quarterback in the AFC.
Here's the thing. I think if he wins this year, he tries to go for the first three-peat in NFL history.
I mean, he might. But
and then retire.
Say that three-peat is a bad year, everyone's going to remember that bad year. Shout out Max Kellerman, because we all know he's going to remember that bad year.
If it's a bad year and they win the Super Bowl, no one remembers that Peyton Manning had a bad year in 2015.
Pat Mahomes did have, Peyton Manning did have a bad year. Defense carried him.
But no one remembers it because he won the Super Bowl.
But I'm saying if they lose that third year, then then it's different. It's a different conversation. If they lose that third year, or say Mike Evans' contract, I believe, is up at that point. Devin White's going to want either an extension. So Devin White is amazing. They're going to want to pay him big money. Are they going to be to keep everybody else around him? What are they going to do?
Well, we're only talking 1 more year as of right now that's guaranteed. So.
Yeah. All right. So, since we're talking about rings, Super Bowls, let's go back to Bill Belichick in New England. Will Bill Belichick ever win another ring without Tom Brady? And will it be in New England? Darryl, what do you think?
First of all, I think that Bill Belichick is going to retire a Patriot when he does decide to go out. Second of all, I think as presently constructed, at least, there's no way that they can win a Super Bowl. You got teams like the Bills and Chiefs in that conference, and what do they have? A prolific offense. So the Patriots need to get some playmakers. There's free agents out there like OBJ, Chris Godwin, Marvin Jones. You got to go get some playmakers, and hopefully that brings some guys in who can change the whole offensive scheme and give you some offensive firepower so you can go and make a run.
Is OBJ a free agent? Or are we just talking about trade packages? You know why Brandon Cooks didn't work out? So we tried to send a 1 year with Brandon Cooks because Bill Belichick supposedly wanted Tom Brady out. He wanted Brandon Cooks to get the connection with Jimmy G. That's why he wanted Jimmy G so bad. And then Brandon Cooks didn't connect with Jimmy G because he barely got the chance. Sent him home. He got basically dead in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. He got knocked out. No call on it. I don't know. I think the only way that Bill Belichick can ever win another ring is if he's not as stubborn as he is. He's very stubborn to his old ways. Don't get me wrong. They usually work, but we don't know if they're going to work without Tommy Foxborough at the quarterback position. I think the only way that they can get another ring is if he's not as stubborn and he's more lenient. He's going to be like, all right, I'm going to pay. He needs to pay people big money. He needs to pay big players big money. He's not going to get another Super Bowl with undrafted free agents, 4th, 5th round picks again. He's not going to convert another quarterback to a great wide receiver like Edelman. It's not going to come by all the time. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think Bill will win another ring, and
Okay.
regardless of where it is. And without Tom Brady, let's just look at
Do you
Bill
think he's going to
Belichick's
stay in
record.
Foxborough?
Yeah, he's never leaving the Patriots.
Okay.
But let's look at his record without Tom Brady.
Mhm.
Without Tom Brady in his career, he's 51-65.
Yep.
That's a below average coach. And when Dom says we got by with free agents and undrafted guys, I really think Tom Brady covered up and elevated those guys.
Mhm.
So now that Tom Brady's not here, it's all getting exposed, which leads back to our other point,
Cam Newton couldn't even throw the ball
It's all
about
catching
2
up
more
to
inches over the ground.
which is why I don't think he'll win another Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because he hasn't prepared himself for the future. He never thought of what was going to happen after Tom Brady. And even when he did, Jimmy Garoppolo.
He didn't even want
then
Tom Brady.
He was forced to trade him away by Robert Kraft.
And Tom Brady recently went in an interview and somebody asked him, they were like, hey, do you think that Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft have shown you appreciation for all your accolades and accomplishments? And he said, I plead the fifth.
I feel
That
like
just goes to show they didn't want him. They didn't want to pay him.
I truly think Robert Kraft did want him, but I think Bill Belichick didn't expect Tom Brady to go this far.
He thought
I
he was going to
think
fall off the cliff too.
No, I think he thought that he would just call it quits after the 6th one.
Mm-hmm.
Even after they went to the Super Bowl in 2018 when they lost.
Yep.
Great
game by Tom.
I think Belichick was already
busy.
preparing for Jimmy Garoppolo to go in the next year right after that.
Yep.
Which Tom Brady won MVP that year.
See, I think the thing is, the hardest part is we're gonna have, if Sam Darnold can be a good quarterback, we're 4 years in, we don't even know if he's good or not.
He did it.
If not, Deshaun Watson, that's one of the possible landing spots. I don't know why he wants to go to New York.
It's the market.
That's a
the market in New York.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Tua Tagovailoa, maybe Deshaun Watson, and Josh Allen. And we don't even have a quarterback. That's just the AFC East.
And that's
the
also-
AFC East is big competition these next few years.
That's also why I think we're so far behind.
Mhm.
All these other teams have superstars that aren't even in their primes yet.
Right.
Josh Allen's what, 25?
And we don't even got a player.
Mahomes not even
This
26
is going
yet.
on his 4th year.
They're only going to get better.
Yep. And no matter what, I think we're all going to know it's either going to be Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, or Matt Stafford in the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one team, I don't know. Maybe if
Mahomes.
No, I'm saying from the NFC.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if the Cardinals get lucky, or if Deshaun goes to Carolina, they might make a run. But
feel
it's gonna be between Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. And we're gonna if we go to the Super Bowl, we're gonna be squeezing out of the AFC just to play Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
I do think the Seahawks do have a chance, but they really need to get that defense right.
Yeah.
And they need to have
They need chemistry.
They have more offense. They have to have better offensive play call.
Yep.
They were so unpredictable towards the middle
It
and
was
end
the
of
same.
the season.
They called the same
Everyone
plays.
knew what they were doing, and
They were
you could
playing
really
Madden
see.
in real life.
Russell Wilson struggled that second half, and it really showed.
Mm-hmm. All right, Darryl. Any thoughts? Any closing thoughts for this topic?
The Patriots, regardless, are going to have to go get some good competition. Whether in the AFC or the NFC, there's good teams right now that the Patriots just simply are not better than. And, like, if you bring Cam Newton back for another year, I know he's going to have an off season, but it's like, how much better can you really be? I mean, he doesn't have that many weapons right now. And, like, do you really want to go into the next season when they kill Harry as number 1 receiver? So they definitely need to make some changes.
And to add on to that, you can say it was my fault all you want.
Then you got to
But
get better.
actions speak more than words. You know what I'm saying?
See-
Next year, you better if they re-sign you, you better come out and throw 30
So,
touchdowns,
Do you think
10
the-
interceptions.
do
You
think
better
the
have a good
Patriots-
year.
Do you think they're gonna keep Cam for another year? Be like, hey, played god awful last year, but listen, we're gonna keep you around, pay you the same amount as last year, but we're gonna get you weapons. Do you think they're gonna keep Cam this year, build around Cam, see if that works out, have maybe Super Bowl caliber Cam Newton coming back to the Patriots? That'd be a scary, scary offense if Cam Newton was back like his prime. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna be like his prime after the injuries, but do you think they're gonna surround him with weapons, pay him little, be like, listen, if you do good with these weapons, we'll sign you for another deal?
I think.
Or do you think they're just going to get rid of Cam or keep him as a backup?
I think the only way Cam Newton's on this team next year is if it's a base salary contract.
You don't think they're going to
And
give him as little as this year?
he takes a leadership role to either a drafted quarterback or a young trade.
Yep.
So
Jarrett Stidham, get him out.
I don't
Brian
see
Hoyer,
him starting.
terrible.
I don't see him starting, but if I see him on the team, I feel like it's most likely going to be a leadership role as a backup quarterback.
So it's going to be like a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Mentoring a younger guy.
So, all right, for our next topic, we're going to be doing an NFL team wheel. So I have 32 teams on this wheel. I'm going to spin it. Each of us is going to have around a minute to talk about the topic, what they need to do in free agency this coming year to get better. All right, Brady, you want to go first?
Sure.
All right. Brady, what do the Panthers have to do this offseason to get better? This is a pretty good one.
Well, it's in the works. Well, people are speculating about it. I think if Deshaun Watson goes there and combines with Christian McCaffrey, that's a scary sight for the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, and I think they also do have to improve that defense a little bit. But
Yeah.
obviously, adding Deshaun Watson, you can't get any worse than you were.
I got a question. Do you think, so there's speculation that Will Fuller might be going to Green Bay. They almost traded for him before the trade deadline. So, yes, Deshaun Watson has help if he goes to Carolina, but does he have more help in Carolina than he did in the Texans? And if so, if not, do you think they'll bring Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks over to Carolina? I'm not saying in the trade package, but do you think they'll end up trading for them throughout the season?
I think with Robbie Anderson and Christian McCaffrey, I think it's enough to make the playoffs. But obviously, if you add one of those players,
It's not
such
enough
as
to win.
Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks, I feel like that might put you a little bit more ahead.
And Jeremy Chin had a great year.
Yep.
Great steal, but they need help on the defensive side of the ball, I believe, more than the offensive side of the ball.
But that division is still tough because
Very, very
still
hard.
got Tom Brady
Yep.
and maybe Drew Brees if he doesn't retire. But he sucks. So
All right, that leads us to another conversation. Daryl, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go.
So, what do the Rams have to do to get better this offseason? Daryl, you're on the clock.
Hey, this is an interesting one, with the Rams. I think they've already made their big move. They got Stafford coming in. And with that defense that's causing turnover, he's going to get the ball back and really get a chance to showcase his talent. I think it's going to be looking good for them.
Do you think they need more help on offense? Do you think they need a better running back? Maybe defense? The defense is... They don't need to touch it, to be honest. They don't need to touch it.
they had the
Maybe
number
a few
one
ounce
ranked
of
defense.
Huh?
They had the number one ranked defense. That's it.
Andrew Whitworth, he might be out of there, might be out of town, might be time to retire. But Cam Akers, good. But
Yep.
is he a RB1? What do you think, Daryl?
Yeah, I definitely think Cam Akers can be an RB1. He really showed signs last year, as did most people in that rookie class. It was a very strong rookie class. But even with Stafford coming in, I think that whole team will improve. Like, Stafford throws a better deep ball than Goff. He's more efficient than Goff. Like, Goff had the second most turnovers since 2017, only behind Jameis Winston, who's no longer a starter.
Is Jared Goff not a starter?
I don't know. I can't tell anymore. They clearly didn't believe in
starter?
him.
Is Jared Goff
Hey,
not
they
a
wanted to start John Wolford over him. I mean, that shows me all I needed to know.
Daryl, you're not an NFL coach? Sure.
Do you think... So we have Travis Etienne and... What is the other great running back this year in the first round? Travis Etienne and Najee Harris.
Okay. Yep.
From Clemson and Alabama. So it's projected that the Jets might be able to get Najee Harris, and I forget which team might get. Excuse me, I keep forgetting his name. But do you think that the Rams might try and make a move to get that pick for their running back, to get a great running back behind Matt Stafford? Or do you think they're just going to keep Cam Akers, see how he does his second year?
I low-key think that offense should be just gun it everywhere. Just throw it all over
Just
the
a
place.
pass first?
Just throw it all over the place.
Okay.
Absolutely. Just sling it all over the place. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he'll be fine.
All right, so what are the Cardinals going to do to get better this offseason? Honestly, they have a great team. Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella, DeAndre Hopkins,
fell apart, though.
Kyler
They
Murray.
should have been
They did
better.
fall apart. Kenyon Drake is a great running back, but do they need another RB2? Is Kenyon Drake the best running back that they can do? Is their defense, Budda Baker's great, but I feel like if anything, they need more help on defense than offense.
But Chandler Jones didn't play this year.
Exactly.
And he had 20 sacks the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a difference.
I think, if anything, their defense needs more help in the offense, because their offense is going to be scoring, like how you were saying, the Rams need to be pass-heavy. They got, arguably the best two wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe one of the best of all time, Larry Fitzgerald, more tackles than drops. Is he going to stick around? I think he's going to be gone, personally. I think Christian Kirk is going to step up. Andy Isabella is
And
a
Christian
great,
Kirk
underrated.
is a downfield receiver. He always
Speed,
gets those. Yep.
burners on him. Do you think they're going to be sending him more and just keep DeAndre maybe closer to Kyler as a not Kyler being a pocket, more of like a safe blanket that are like, all right, DeAndre's going to be there, and I know he's going to be catching the ball for the first
I also think Drake
down.
could do that as well.
But do you think that they're going to be having DeAndre in more within 20 yards, within 15, just to make sure Kyler Murray always has a security blanket, be like, all right, if I get D-Hop, he's going to get the first down. He's going to be able to catch the ball for the first down. Christian Kirk, I can toss it up first, second down, see if he's going to be there. Don't get me wrong.
But here's the
they're
thing.
They're going to send D-Hop.
Hopkins not dropping that pass. Like, if you
That's
throw
what
it
I'm
deep
saying.
to him,
That's
he's
an
not
automatic
dropping it.
first down. So, yes, I think they're going to be sending DeAndre Hopkins out for at least 25.
I would rather send Hopkins downfield.
And keep Christian Kirk in.
Because Kirk will still make it happen with his feet, but I really like Hopkins' chances when the ball's thrown downfield.
What pick do they have this year? Is it high?
Probably
teens?
like middle of the pack. A little bit before
like 19?
the Patriots. Probably like around 10 or 11 maybe.
Before the Patriots?
Yeah, they are 8-8. Patriots are 7-9.
So after the
It
Patriots.
goes by record.
So after the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
Also, they have 16.
They might.
17?
It's probably
16,
around
high
middle of the
teens.
pack. Around middle
Alright.
of the pack.
So let's go to the MLB. Brady, you want to introduce this one? Let's go to the MLB.
Yep. Fernando Tatis Jr. just signed a $300 million deal, 14 years.
Yep. 24 a year.
I honestly think this is underpaid for a guy like him because
Really?
if you look at the other stars in the
You
league.
saying just now in general? Or are you saying like,
yes,
all right, down
for,
the line?
For
like,
a $300 million contract or more.
Yeah.
I think Trout makes $35 million a year.
Okay.
And Betts makes $30 million a year. That's still, I don't know. If you're gonna sign a guy for, I just don't like how many years they signed him for.
So piggybacking off of what Brady said, so this is the longest deal in MLB history, but MLB history.
I don't
but
like
the
the
third
years.
most in cash. Mike Trout is making 12 years, $426.5 million, and Mookie Betts is getting 12 years, $365 million. Daryl, what do you think? Is he going to be underpaid, just right, overpaid?
So I think it was just right, mainly because of injuries. With a contract as long as that, like, you never know what type of injuries can happen during the next 14 years. Like, you never know what type of injuries could happen that could possibly derail his career. So, like, you definitely don't want to, like, pay too much when it comes to, like, that amount of years. Because, like, God forbid an injury happens to him and, like, you pay him all that money, but just to not be happy with what you paid him. So, like, that's my opinion on that.
yeah.
See, here's the
Also,
thing,
to
I
add on to
agree.
what Daryl said, his rookie year he played 89 games, and this past year
Out
they
of
only
how many?
out of 162.
Okay.
In this past year, the MLB had a shortened season, so they only got 58 games out of
Barely
him.
played because the...
So, I mean, he's an
Uncle
incredible
COVID.
talent, but maybe they should have waited a year, do you think, Daryl? Waited a couple
To
years
sign this deal,
to see if they have a better
ball player.
Yep.
So I agree with Brady that he will be underpaid in the long run. Not even just in the long run. I think right now he might be underpaid. I'm not saying that they didn't give him a lot of money. Here's why. When he was 19 in the minor leagues, he signed a deal with Big League Advance. They invest in players then, and in return receive a cut of the players' contracts in the future if they sign a large deal in the MLB. Obviously, more of a payout for them. So they offer about $50,000 for 1% of the player's pro earnings. The more they invest, the larger the percentage they make. And he's only supposed to see about half that money with that and the tax on it.
So I think
So he's only making about $170 for
Yep.
12 years, which don't get me wrong,
and I believe
ton of money,
I
more
believe
than
that
I'll ever make, but that's a ton. He's losing a lot.
I believe that deal that he signed in the minor leagues cost him about over this contract lifetime. It's going to cost him around $28 million if I'm getting
Okay.
the number right. I believe it's
So that's
around 28 million.
312 minus the 28, and then I think it's about
It's like
I forget
40%
the
probably.
amount of taxes, but we'll say around half, 65% of his money, which a ton of money. But compared to the 340 that he originally put pen on paper for, I don't know. He might be a little bit underpaid.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how he does next season, but might end up underpaid. All right, NBA MVP Daryl. Who's your MVP for the NBA right now?
There's a lot of guys that have been playing well, a lot of guys that's saving of it right now. But how about Damian Lillard? I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been hitting clutch shot after clutch shot, number of 40-point games, just absolutely scoring the lights out. And, you know, his second best and third best players in McCollum and Nurkic are not playing right now, and he still has him fourth in the West right now. He definitely should have been an All-Star starter as well. This guy has been playing lights out, and he deserves some MVP consideration. I hope he wins it this year.
Brady?
You may have changed my mind. I did say Steph Curry.
We talked a little bit before the show.
I did say Steph Curry, but Joel Embiid just dropped 50 points.
Yep.
You don't even hear a peep about Ben Simmons.
Nothing.
Joel
Not
Embiid
one
is running
thing.
that town.
I mean, listen,
they have the number
depending
one
on who
seed
you
in the East
follow-
right now.
Depending on who you follow, who you listen to, maybe someone's talking about bummy Ben Simmons who can't shoot a three to save his life, can't find the basket like Dora couldn't find the map, can't find anything, can't shoot, terrible. Embiid is averaging about the same amount as as Curry at 30 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game on 32.6 minutes per game, and he's 40% from the three this season, 85% of the line, and is leading his team to the number one seed in the East at 20-10 with basically no help. Yes, Seth Curry has been playing a lot better than he has been. Right now, I take Seth Curry over Ben Simmons, and he's second in points per game in the NBA as a big man. That is big.
I feel like over the offseason, a lot of people were criticizing the 76ers because of how long they've been trying to get to this point.
Yeah.
But I feel like Doc Rivers really made a defense. Really made a difference in this team.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's changed the culture.
Do you think Ty Lue's doing good in LA?
I think those guys really want to play for Doc Rivers.
Do you think Ty Lue's doing good for the Clippers?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Way better than Doc.
Yeah.
Listen, love Doc. Love when he gets Boston.
Doc Rivers, Baba.
Didn't do very good in LA. Let's just keep it at that. But Embiid is absolutely strapping on the 76ers and struggling carrying them to the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. Ben Simmons, what's he doing? Dunking, driving, yes, amazing. Got to be able to shoot a little game winners a few times.
Which may be a problem down the line for them.
Yeah.
I don't think Seth Curry is shooting as much as he should be.
I think Seth Curry is doing great now, but I think it might die off a little bit. And say come playoff time, they barely have to guard the perimeter.
I think
they have to guard maybe the mid-range a little bit. Ben Simmons barely shoots fadeaways. He's more driving than not. He's driving like Joel Embiid takes almost about the same amount as three-pointers in the season, if not more than Ben Simmons, and has made more than Ben Simmons. He's more of a shooter than Ben Simmons is.
Yep. And I also think if the 76ers are going to make a deep run, they really need Seth Curry to really pile up the shots and get that going.
Tobias
which I
Harris
think he
needs to
will.
help out.
Because a three-point shot in the playoffs, it's like I feel like
crucial.
It is crucial.
Fourth quarter, three-pointer.
But at the same
Big
time,
All right. So we're talking about Eastern Conference, 76ers on top. Let's go to the Celtics and the Bucks. Are they done? Are the seasons over? Daryl, what do you think? Are the Celtics and Bucks done?
So, if the Celtics don't address their big man problem, then their season is over. What big man are they going to stop that's good? Like, any good big man is going to have a field day on Dice. I thought Tristan Thompson was going to come and bring some good defensive energy, but I don't think he has that same effect as he used to. And right now, Kemba Walker hasn't been playing too well. The bench hasn't been given much. And it's really been a Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum show. And honestly,
really
we can't just get an offense from only two people. So we definitely need to make some changes.
Points. I think they're averaging both like 28 or 30 or something like that. They're averaging, I think it's 0.1 of a difference between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum averaging. If Jason Tatum's getting this max contract extension, what's Jaylen Brown going to get? He's coming up. Jason Tatum staying the same as last year, if not a little bit worse than last year. I'm not saying he's going down, but what are they going to do? Bray, what do you think?
Well, here's the thing. I agree with Daryl that they need that center. That center position is very important.
And Marcus Smart's been hurt.
Especially in the playoffs. It's a stat that the three-point shot is not as big as it is in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
The three-point shooting goes down in the playoffs, which makes the paint and the mid-range way more important.
Crucial.
And Tristan Thompson, he's not going to put up points.
You need offensive rebounds. We're not getting them. Celtics are not getting offensive rebounds.
And you need points in the paint, points in the mid-range.
And just defense in general.
Yep.
And Marcus Smart, done.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can go.
Danny Ainge said this week, our roster is not good enough to win a championship. He said we're not good enough.
That's his problem.
So here's what I think
I think they drafted well. I don't think they drafted that bad.
We had 3 first-round picks. We couldn't have done anything with those picks. Daryl, don't you think
I would have drafted a big?
We could have done
3 shooters.
We had 3 first-round picks. We should have got a big.
Who was it? Pritchard. I think we traded away the third one. Or do
Dude,
we not?
it's a known fact. The NBA draft, those picks in the later round aren't important. What matters is those first maybe
First
five,
15.
5 to 10 guys. Yes. Why couldn't we trade all three of
Freshman
those picks
15.
to get a big man that we needed? We didn't need Peyton Pritchard. We need to add depth.
Right. So the Celtics right now are 15 and 14, barely over 500.
And we're at the All-Star break almost.
Exactly. So the season's already almost halfway
they're
done.
gonna make the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna go as deep as they did last year.
Bucks 17 and 13. You know, as much as we're hating on the Celtics and the Bucks right now, I don't see many teams beating the Celtics and the Bucks in a 7-game series. I don't think they're done. Like, yes, don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to make it to the NBA Finals. But, yes, Nets obviously going to beat both of them 7-game series. 76ers would more likely beat the Bucks than the Celtics, I believe, just because I think the Celtics are a better team overall because Giannis is basically doing it by himself. Meanwhile, Peyton Pritchard could go off. Nesmith could go off. Tristan Thompson could get a ton of boards one game. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. The three of them, and when Kemba's on, if the four of them are on, that's a lethal, what is that, quartet? 4? That is a great group of guys. The Nets will obviously beat them. Utah will beat them.
They're
The
gonna call them the
Nuggets will
big
probably beat
quad.
them. The Lakers. So, yes, it's going to be harder to win the finals than getting out of the East, but I don't think they're done. Both not making the finals. They both need to make moves. The Bucks need a better three-point shooter, better perimeter guy. Even if it's not threes, we need better mid-range. Chris Middleton's hurt a ton of times. Giannis is doing it by himself. Doesn't have any help. Dante DiVincenzo isn't going to cut it anymore. Celtics need a powerful big. Bucks need a shooter. That's basically what it is. That's what it comes down to if they need help.
And I think this brings us to the next topic. I really don't think either the Celtics or the Bucks, I don't see either of them getting past the Nets. Solely based on they have 3 legit superstars.
So you think it's championship or bust for the Lakers and the
Absolutely.
Nets?
I think,
Just the Nets? Or just
I feel
the
like it's just the Nets. As long as AD is unhealthy, you can't put that on LeBron to win that.
Well, they said
So,
that AD is going to – I think they said they're going to rest him a little bit more than he needs
If
to.
AD is healthy, it's championship or bust.
I don't
for
think
both.
AD should be playing until after the All-Star
Yeah.
break. Yes, they're in a great spot. They're 22 and 8 right now. They're second in the West. They're in a good spot, but I think they're still going to be in a great spot even if even if AD is hurt. But I think, all right, Daryl, what do you think?
Yeah, so speaking of the Lakers, I don't think it's going to matter what place they're in as long as Anthony Davis is healthy. That should be the number one priority. For instance,
They just need a chance.
And I think they're going to have a lot of games when they lose to teams that they're not used to losing to. But as long as they're on the playoffs, it doesn't matter what seed they're in. If Anthony Davis can be healthy, they can make a run.
Yeah.
As for the Nets, there's no excuse not to get out of the East and go to the finals where you get that roster. We should be seeing a Nets and Lakers final.
Exactly. No excuse.
All right.
I also do like how everyone was speculating who's gonna run the offense for the Nets. I like how James Harden has kind of taken that role. He doesn't care. He averaged 34 points a year. And
What is it, 11 assists or something like that? 10 assists
He's
per
averaging
game?
24. Okay, a quick 24, and he's getting 11 assists a game. He's
Right.
running that offense, and he doesn't care about the stats right now. He has one thing in mind, and that's to win an NBA championship.
So the Nets right now are 19 and 12. Lakers 22 and 8. The Nets are doing this. They're doing damage
Only
with their
pieces of
their
the
big
three.
three are never on the court at the same time. Yes, they're on the court, but 2 of them are watching wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts. They're not all playing together.
Yeah.
Imagine them all together as a cohesive unit. That is a great team. There's no reason they shouldn't be making it out of the East.
way.
No, unless Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown get in their bag, start scoring 40 a game each. There's no reason that the Nets should be losing and not getting out. So I think Lakers need Anthony Davis to be healthy in order for them to get to the finals. Because the Jazz right now are 24 and 6 on top of the West. Okay? Averaging a ton of points. Donovan Mitchell's going on a spree. Rudy Gobert's doing great. Maybe another defensive player of the year. What is this? Third
third
year up for the award is what I mean. So, listen to this. James Harden's playing the Jazz. Jazz are up 24 at the end of the first half. James Harden put on a show, scoring 38 points that game, going on a 12-0 run in the end of the fourth quarter to seal the game off with a game-winning shot to win by, I believe, 4 at that game. Guess who wasn't playing? Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving weren't playing. Spencer Dinwiddie's been hurt since what? The third, fourth, fifth game this year? DeAndre Jordan's averaging like 7. He's not getting anything. He's getting boards, but that's about it. James Harden just took down the number 1 team in the West by himself. By himself.
He's a killer.
All right, going from that argument, who are you guys' favorites to win the NBA Finals? Daryl?
Daryl, you can go first.
Yeah, I mean, if the Nets are playing as a cohesive unit, just think about the talent they have there. James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. That's just crazy to have on one team.
Amazing. Way better than the big three from OKC.
Just think about that.
Ooh, follow-up. Is this big three in Brooklyn better than the Warriors' big three? With Clay, would you rather Clay, Curry, and KD, or Harden, Kyrie, and KD?
I feel like
I'd rather Curry over Harden, Kyrie over Clay, and KD. Obviously, KD and KD.
Think that the Warriors' big three was better, just simply because like they were always on the court together. They found that thing that was going to make them click. And we just haven't seen that yet with the Nets. But maybe when we do, that argument will change.
I agree. I definitely would take the Warriors' big three right now because they accomplished more. Especially they had Draymond.
What they can do over a whole season.
Exactly. I need to give me how long was their deals? 2, 3?
2.
We'll say around 2, 3.
Yeah.
After 3 years, when we look back at it, how much they accomplished in the time they had compared to the Warriors' big three in the time that they had, then I'll be like, all right, I'll sit down and be like, which one was the best one? So I think the Nets are the hands-down favorites for the NBA Finals, but the only thing that scares me is they all kind of need the ball to be great. They all need the ball. So Kevin Durant averages 29 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game. Kyrie averages 27 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game. Harden averages 24, 7 rebounds, and 11 assists per game. That's 80 points on average with just the 3 of them. Just the 3. And yes, I understand they're not going to be on the court at all times together, so they might maneuver around the lineups so they all have a good amount with each other and a good amount separately so they can all do their own thing and be great with the ball and without the ball with the other 2. But I don't think who's going to stop that?
All right, here's the real problem. No one is going to outscore the Nets. The problem is, will the Nets outscore themselves? Which means, is their defense going to be able to live up to that moment in that moment?
The Nets
can score 150, but it doesn't mean anything if they give up 151.
The Nets average 121 points per game, and they allow 117. So right on that line, the Celtics average 110 points per game, allow 109 for the opponent. That's a 1-point difference. That just goes to show they're barely above 500 even in this. 76ers average 114 points per game and let up about 111. All of these teams are riding the line. The Lakers only put up about 112 per game, and the Jazz only put up about 115. So no matter what, the 76ers are outscoring the Lakers, and the Nets are outscoring both the Jazz and the Lakers, the number 1 and 2 seed in the West. Yes, I understand. Like Brady said earlier before the show, historically great offense, historically bad defense. I don't know. They're either going to win or their own poor defense is going to lose them the finals.
I don't think the Nets can lose a game, but
what do you mean lose a game?
Right.
Like
they're never going to be out of a game. Like
they're always going to be in it.
They're always going to be in the game. It's just a matter of those 1 or 2 plays on defense that's going to make the difference in the last 2 minutes of the game, last 5 minutes of the game.
So funny story about them not being in it. A few nights ago when they played the Jazz, they were down about 20 points towards the end of the third.
Never out.
I turned off the game and I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. I'm out. I'm not watching this. Harden couldn't do it just by himself. Go on my phone the next morning, Harden's hitting game winner threes, scoring 38 against the number 1 seed Jazz. Clippers aren't doing that. Kawhi and playoff Paul George didn't show up last year in the playoffs. Paul George was hitting the side of the backboard, shooting threes. He can't do it. He can't play. He cannot do that by himself or with Kawhi. There's no team in the West. Yes, Denver Nuggets. They put on a show last year against Donovan Rudy, Nikola Jokic, and Murray put on a show in the bubble against Donovan in the Jazz. Are we going to see another battle in the Western Conference in the playoffs? Are they going to make it to the Western Conference Finals? Don't think so. I'll give you this. What if LeBron gets hurt and it's just AD? How far are they getting?
He's not going to get hurt.
What if LeBron gets hurt?
Dude,
what if LeBron
I saw this video.
breaks his leg?
I saw this
How far will they
video.
get?
LeBron practices how to fall when he jumps to dunk. He practices how to fall. So he falls. I watched the video. He falls in the correct way so he doesn't hurt himself.
Knock on wood. I don't want this to happen. Say he gets in a car accident. Knock on wood.
All right.
Breaks his ankle.
All right, Jesus.
What if, in all matters,
This man will bubble wrap his ankle and go out there and win a championship.
hop on 1 foot, shoot still better than Ben Simmons.
Goat
Shout out Ben
discussion's
Simmons.
over.
God awful.
Goat discussion's over. He's wrapping that thing up in bubble wrap and
But
taking one
who-
for the team.
Say LeBron James is hurt. How far do they get with AD? Daryl, what do you think? How far do they get with AD? Just AD, no LeBron.
They wouldn't go anywhere because AD probably wouldn't be healthy himself.
We can
And
look
LeBron's
big,
superhuman,
but-
so he's definitely not going to get injured. But if he did, and AD was your perennial guy, I don't even see him going out of the first round because I don't trust AD to stay healthy long term. And if he's just your number one guy, that's going to risk
how far
a
are they
risk you're
getting
going to
with
have to
Alex
take if I want to be
Caruso?
in and out
I'd
of the
like to
lineup.
say this. I think the Lakers are more likely to go far with just LeBron than they are than just AD. If
Exactly.
you look at AD's years with the Pelicans, he went to the playoffs once.
Mhm.
LeBron carried all those
LeBron
Cavs
only goes
teams.
against super teams,
Yes.
basically. He only goes against super teams. That GOAT discussion is for another day. Maybe
Yes,
next
sir.
episode we'll talk about who's
Shout out
the
to
GOAT.
Bat.
Yep. Talk about maybe who's the GOAT. Jordan, LeBron. That'll be probably a lengthy argument
GOAT
and
talk.
debate. We'll talk about Pro Bowl snubs and All-Star snubs for the NBA and NFL season. We'll talk about NFL awards, everything like that. Quick, shout out to Lumberlends Bat mugs. Great bat mugs. You can use them to drink in or display like we do. Great products, great prices. Check them out on Instagram at Lumberlends and, Lumberlends Bat Mugs and TikTok at Lumberlends Bat Mugs. Shout out Big Nick. Great products. I'll put them in the description. Thank you guys for listening to the first official DBD Sports Show podcast. Let's give it a round of applause.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Thank you,
See
everyone.
you guys next week.
See you guys.